Don't just focus on money on right now. They work too much. Some they don't even go to school. Some they deny them food. So try to talk to your kids as much as you can, even though sometimes we may be busy. Hello, it's your girl again in another vlog. So in today's video, like this video goes to all parents, or if you know your mom or your father and you left your kids behind and you go to a parent, did you take time to talk to your kids that you left back home with your relatives? Do you talk to them and see the situation that they are passing through? Are they going to school? Are they getting food? As for me, I don't have baby or kids, so I'm doing it to give you an advice, because this is the thing that I went through, because my mom wasn't around 24/7. She wasn't around, and so when I was growing up, I didn't grow with my mom. My mom was always out. So I think I could see my mom like once in 3 years or none. So for me, I through my entire life. When you ask me about my mom, I can say that I don't know her that much. So for me, my mom could just call a phone and say, you go to this person and start staying there. So for me, in the morning, I just wake up and I go to that relative of mine and stay there until I feel like I'm tired. And when I'm leaving, I don't go back. I could just wake up in the morning and say, I'm tired of this place, let me go back home. And reaching there was our sister. Yeah, there was our sister. So she was the one staying at home. No one was at home. My mom and my dad, no one was at home. The house was just there. And my mom could send money to the relatives where I was staying to buy for last books, clothes, and pay school fees. But sometimes they could not just pay that school fees, and they just eat that money, and at the end of the term they are chasing us. Sometimes we could not sit for the end of year or end of term exams, and when we could, I never had chance to call my mom because I never had phone. And the relatives where I was staying, it was so difficult for them to give you a phone and talk to your parents. Talk to my mom. So it was so difficult in that period. That's why I'm saying that I could just wake up in the morning and I say, I'm tired, I don't want to stay here. And I just move to my home, even though there was no one at home. You know, you're a parent, you left your kids back home, and you came to any other countries or foreign countries to work for money. Maybe they can get school fees, they can put on good clothes, they can go to good places, like good schools. So you can communicate with your kids.
Do you think that they are doing okay in the real sense? They are not doing okay. Some of them
because sometimes we may say that I left my kids with my sister, my mom,
some of them are mistreated.
With their father,
so I want you to keep on checking on those kids.
Take your time and call and talk to your kids. Call them like once or twice in a week and see. You call on the video call to see these kids, how are they doing. And when they say that the kids is not around, you keep on saying, you ask where did she or he go, and when is she coming back, or when is he coming back. And when they tell you that he's coming back at this time, take your responsibility as a parent. Call back and ask and see the child of yours. Don't just send money, like you are working and you just send money home and you don't know the person, like the kids, don't know how the kids are looking. Take your responsibility as a parent. Call back home and see the situation that is at home. Talk to that parent, child of yours, and ask what is the situation, where she's living, what she wants. Don't just send money every day, and you don't even take your time to communicate with these people. You know, these people, when we live and leave our kids with them, they just, it's like they hit the jackpot, because they know every month you'll be sending money for them to go to school, to buy books, to buy clothes. And remember, when you send that money, sometimes those kids, they don't even know where that money go. Maybe the guardians or their relatives, their fathers just eat that money. Situation, ask them how are they feeling. Are they getting the things that they asked for? Are they getting school fees? Don't just send money and say, I'm just sending money, let me just keep quiet. Maybe I goes to those parents who left their kids with their husband. You don't even know, you don't even communicate. Even though there was some misunderstandings between you and your husbands, or your wife and you, don't just put that burden on the kids. Talk to your kids and see. You know, there was this lady and the husband left to go outside the country to work for the money. The kids were still kids, small. I mean, the kids were still small. Like, the youngest was 1 and the oldest was 4, 5. The husband would send the money to that lady, and she just used that money like to go outside, to buy clothes, to buy whatever, and refused to buy food for the kids. So take care and communicate with those kids and see the situation. Ask them, like video call them, ask them the situation at home. Are they happy? Don't just send money home and they think that the kids are happy. Sometimes they don't even see the kids are overworked. You as a parent, you know, there is this saying that no one can take care of your kids like the one, like you who produced that baby. So don't expect much from those parents. I mean, from your relatives or your mother, their grandfather. No. Them and the kids tells you that they don't get school fees, they chase them at school. Take your responsibility. Talk to the HM of the school, headmaster or whatever, or the teacher at school, that you can send that money direct to the school, other than sending them to their relatives or their fathers or their mothers. At the end of time, they are not sitting the exams, the performance is very poor. So make sure that you talk to the people at school, like the teachers, the HM, the whatever because of the kids, and ask them, do my kids or do my kid attend school every day? Do they sit for an examination? Not just sending money and think that those kids are going to school. In the real thing, they are not going to school, and their performance is very bad. If you know the kids are very old, like 8 above 8, you can send them in the boarding school, so that when you send money for school fees, you just send direct to school, and the kid stays at school until the term is done. Those are 3 months. For us, we take 3 months per term. And when she finishes the term, she can go to your relatives, and when the term starts again, you send that baby or that kid at school and stay there. Other than leaving that baby to your relative, they're saying that you go to the garden, stay here, maybe take care of the kids, or maybe go and look after the animals in the farm. So think of the meal. Ask them how many times do they eat in a day. Do they take breakfast? Do they take lunch? Do they eat supper? If they say that they at least eat twice in a day, that's okay. But if they say that they eat once in a day, that's supper or break or lunch, you can change that. You can change that baby from where she's staying or where he's staying to another place, and see the situation, so that the situation can change. You know, sometimes we leave our kids when they are looking healthy, and at the end of the contract, we go back to our country when the kids, and we find our kids are looking very bad, because the clothes that they are putting on are very damaged, and they are not even washed. And remember, you send money, and when you try to ask why are they looking like this, they just say, your kids doesn't listen. When you tell her to do this, when you tell him to do this, she just ignores you and run away from home. Sometimes you find the kids like they are fractured. Maybe he has bruises, scars, and when you try to ask why are you looking like this, why are you having all of these scars, and you say that my auntie or my grandpa or my father is the one who has been beating me. When I refuse to do this, when I see it's not too good, they just beat me. So some of these kids are very, very tortured. By the way, they are tortured them because they know there is no one who gonna rescue them, no one who's gonna come to rescue them. So even though sometimes you may be busy, but you cannot be busy to your kids, from your kids. No, you take your time. Even though you are very far from them, you don't see them daily, but you can take your time once or twice in a week or thrice in a week and call them and see the situation and talk to them privately. Don't ask them when the relatives are very near, because when you ask something when the relatives is very near and you know the relative hears like you are asking this, and the relative, that guardian knows that the baby will say the truth. He may say that don't say this. Instead, she will say like, if she asks you do this, if she asks you this, you say this. So be careful when you are talking to them. Tell them to move away from the relative so that you can get the clear information, because these kids sometimes when they are very tortured, they can just hide. Especially when they are around the relatives. So when you tell them that to move away from that aunt of hers or that sister of hers, so that she can go afar from them, and you talk to them or talk to her and listen. Don't just listen and you refuse to do a thing. No, when you listen, do a thing. Rescue them. Those kids sometimes they talk to those kids. Don't just neglect them. Don't just focus on looking on the money and you forget your kids. No, it's not important. The most important thing is the kids that you left behind. Because when you work that money so that you can take care of those kids, and when you reach back home and the kids are not there, maybe they are dead. So how are you gonna enjoy that? How are you gonna see that? How are you gonna feel? Another thing, you ask them how are they being treated at home. Ask them whether they love where they are staying. Yeah, don't just leave your kids because she's your sister or he's your auntie or he's their father and say that they will treat them very good. No, some of them they just mistreat them. They deny them food. When you send money for them to get school fees, they just change that money to their kids and they forget your kids. Remember, you send money for your kids and they just change money to their kids. At the end of the time, just your kids is just suffering, crying day and night. And other thing, you ask where they are sleeping. By the way, you ask where they are sleeping. You know, when you send money, make sure that baby, or when she's not sleeping very well, you can buy a mattress and blanket and bed sheets so that the baby can sleep in a comfortable place. Not like sending the money and you forget and the kids is just sleeping on the ground, on the soil. No, it's not. If you call your baby or you call your son or your daughter and she tells you that my aunt is mistreating me, don't just say that. I know you are big-headed. You fail to listen to that. And instead you listen to the other auntie. And when your aunt, like when you hear from her auntie and say that your child is doing this, she's behaving bad, he's behaving hard, he's not listening to me, and you also take that and you fail to listen to your side of the side of your child. And the end of the time, running away from where you left them, and when you come back, she's nowhere to be seen. Then guys, take responsibility. Don't just work for the money. At the end of the time, you just go back and you find your kids are no more, or your kids are looking very bad, and you start crying and stay saying, how did this happen? And the mistake is yours, because you refuse to call them to ask them, do they love where they are staying? Do they go to school? And when you find them the way they are looking, or they are not going to school, you start crying. No, it's not helpful. So ask the kids, ask your kids and see the situation. And when the situation is not favorable for them, you can just change. Guys, that's the end of today's video. If you're a parent, take responsibility. Your baby, remember, there is no one who can take care of your kids as you a parent, or as you mother and father who produced that baby. You know the pain that you went through to produce that baby. So take care of your kids, to communicate with them on daily basis. The end of today's video. I hope to see you in the next video. Hey guys, if you are new, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, and yeah, bye.